Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Mike and this is Something Mobile, and on this video we're going to be talking about my favorite cases for the S21 Ultra, and I will leave in the description down below the prices of all of these cases and links to those, which will also be affiliated. So if you are interested in getting any of those cases, they'll be right down there for you. We're going to go through these cases in no particular order. I do have my favorites, but I can use any of these cases and be totally fine. So I think you guys will be happy with these. And if you guys stay to the very end, I'll show you what screen protector is my favorite as well. So this one does come in just a regular plastic bag. It's Ziploc, which is kind of nice because you can seal off the dust. Comes with a little foam insert here. And it's just a solid hardback case, which is kind of surprising because it is so cheap. These are going to be really soft sides here. There's not really much drop protection with this case on. That's even a little flimsy right there. It does have covered buttons. The ports are going to be wide open for you. There's a carbon fiber finish on this side right here and more of a matte finish right there with a racing stripe down the middle, which is actually really cool. This is supposed to be leather, I think, but it feels more of like a matte finish. See what this is like here? So it goes in there really easy, super slim fit, and the buttons are nice and clicky. For the sake of time, all these cases here do charge wireless through the case. There's a little bit of lay on table protection there, not much. Like I said, it's going to be a minimal kind of case, but it does have some lay on table protection on the face, kinda, a little bit. It is screen protector friendly all the way around. Feels super nice to hold. I'm not gonna say it feels nice in the hand. That's getting kind of old, that saying, everybody says it, right? So this one's the Spigen Thin Fit. This is a nice, soft, matte finish. It has more of like a rounded feeling on the sides and the top, on the bottom. This one does offer a little bit more drop protection because there are tiny little air pockets in the corners here. And this isn't quite as flexible as this one. It'll last a little bit longer. It does have a thicker back, so you can't bend it as easy, right, as that one. Even though they call it a thin fit, it's a little bit more rigid than most thin fit cases would be. It's got Spigen branding right there. Let's go ahead and try this on the phone here. Yeah. Now I remember why it's one of my favorites. The buttons are super clicky, nice and responsive. It looks super nice around that camera. Covers it up on the sides there, really nice. Openings on the bottom, super nice and grippy. And I've had this for a while, but when I got it out of the box, I do remember that it did have a pretty good grip to it. It's going to get a little bit stickier, a little bit better, a little bit more grippy as you use it, more difficult to take off. So that's a good sign. Tells you that it's a good case. Holds onto the phone really well. It won't bounce out of there. I'm gonna save this one for last because it takes so long to put on. The Spigen, it's a pretty good brand. They've been around for a really long time now. I like the company. I've never really had any problems with their cases. I like how they offer you a really good case at a good price. I often go back to this Spigen brand. It's one of the brands that you just can kind of rely on to make a decent case for a good price. So this is the Spec case, and it does have a little bit of dust in there because I did use this for a while. It's not one of those cases that will pull out your pocket, so you're not gonna have to worry about that. It's a little bit thicker than the Spigen case. You can see it's a little bit wider. The protection that you get inside this is making it a little bit thicker, but I think it's worth it. It's got nice plastic buttons. The material of the buttons is kind of like the same stuff that's on the inside here. These ridges, it won't compress at all. And I used this case for a while and I really liked it until I got the thin fit. If you were going to get just one case, I would say that this might be the case that you should get if you're wanting good drop protection with kind of a minimal feeling case. This probably would be the one for you. It is screen protector friendly and it does have good lay on table protection on the sides here. On the back, you can see that there's a little bit of a gap between the camera and the lip of the case right here. So it will be lay on table protected as well. So that's the Speck Presidio 2 grip. And next, let's go with the later case. So if you guys don't know him already, he has a YouTube channel. His name is Lou. His channel is called Unbox Therapy. If you guys don't watch his channel, I recommend it. He's from Canada, him and his team over there. He started a good channel and he decided to make a case. It's the impossibly thin phone case, right? Designed in Canada, made with Kevlar, 0.6 millimeters thin, feather, weight 10 grams, superior texture, and it's stronger than steel. Now you might say, wait, how is that stronger than steel? If you were to compare the steel at this thickness, 0.6 millimeters thick, then this would be stronger than that steel. I like how this case fits, and it kind of feels like the Spigen Thin Fit. All the ports are open, obviously, because the bottom is completely open. It just has protection on the corners. So your phone just kind of sits in there, yet has all the buttons and everything exposed. So it kind of feels like you don't have a case on. You can kind of still feel the case, but it's super thin, so it doesn't really get in the way of how you use your phone. You almost get the manufacturer's intended feeling, the way they want you to experience it with this case on. I don't have a problem with setting this down because it has this kind of built-in camera cover right here. One cool feature I remember Lou talking about is the fact that he cut this at the bottom right here so the edge wouldn't bother your finger. So he had to reduce this right here to come back just far enough to be able to expose the metal bottom of the phone, so that way when it's resting on your finger, it's not cutting into your finger right here. If you're going to use a skin with your case, then I would recommend not using this. Covers the sides a little bit more than a skin would. It's kind of like that perfect balance between using a skin and a case. So let's get on to Defender Pro by OtterBox. Just in case you guys haven't put one of these cases on your phone, it does take a little bit, and I won't actually skip over this, but I will speed it up so that way you can see how it's done, just in case you haven't seen it. So all right, let's get it put on the phone. First things first, let's talk about protection. Yes, you're gonna have great drop protection, but it's not waterproof, so that means dust can get in. When you have this case on for a month, take it off and clean it out, dust it out, so that way it's not rubbing on your phone and you're good to go. This is a super versatile case. You can put it in your pocket and it'll be perfectly fine, or you can use one of my favorite features, which I didn't think that I would like this, but I actually really do. This right here is a clip to hold on to the phone, either on the front face like that, or on the back like that. So you can have either the camera exposed or the face of your screen exposed. I go back and forth on which I prefer, but I think that the camera is exposed a little bit too much, so I oftentimes just turn it around so I can see my phone screen and I can see any incoming notifications, anything like that. So I think that this is probably the better way for me. Last year they did have a little bit better functionality on the Note 20 Ultra. This clip has to line up with this. Before, this little piece of plastic was moved over to the middle, and there's a little piece of plastic right there that was also moved over to the middle instead of offset like this, like it is right now. So you could take it and put it in there however you want, but instead you have to put it in a particular way. So when it's on your hip, it's kind of a pain to kind of get it to where you want it, but honestly, it's not much of a big deal because they did give you more room to be able to push the power button. And I think that's why they did it. I don't think that it was necessarily something they had to do, because on the Note 20 Ultra, this was perfectly reachable. So maybe that's not why they did it. Either way, I would prefer it to be in the middle. They did cut it better this time. They left it more wide open so it would be nice and screen protector friendly. You think, well, I'll never use that mic. I'm not gonna use that case. And you might be right, but I think I should tell you about this cool feature that it has if you don't know this already. It's a kickstand, so it'll stand like that. You can lay it down like that, and also it does add a little bit of protection, drop protection for the case. If you want it to act like a little pop socket, you can close that clasp there and it'll kind of bite onto your finger, and it's not too tight. Should be okay if you have little fingers, bigger fingers, and my hands are actually pretty big and my hand fits in there just fine. What's nice about this is you can look at your phone when you're in your bed, looking up like this and not worry about it hitting you in the face, unless that clip happens to break. By the way, if anything does ever break on an OtterBox case, you can return it or get a replacement. I don't even think you have to return it. You just ask for a replacement. But either way, you can get a brand new case. One thing with these cases also is this rubber is super grippy. Really nice, but it will come out like this and stretch after long-term use. And so this rubber does stretch out. I think there's a trick that somebody came up with where they put this in boiling water and then put it in cold water again to kind of like shrink it back into place. I wouldn't do that. I don't know if that'll void your warranty. If something goes wrong with this, get a replacement. There is a flap right here that blocks anything getting into your charging port. Your speakers are kind of pretty far down in there, and all the other ports all the way around, the mics. And there is lay on table protection for this case on the back here, and lay on table protection for the front. You would think that this case is not the case for you if you don't like big cases, but I'm pretty sure you would be surprised, because I was. A lot of people were saying, get this case, Mike, get this case. And I thought that, nah, it's not for me. And it ended up being a really nice case that I like. Let's get on to my favorite screen protector. So let's move all these out of the way. And you'll notice that this screen protector is no longer in use. It cannot function, right? One thing I want to point out first is this screen protector is glass. Leave in the comments down below what you think this screen protector is. Do you know this jig? Do you know who makes it? Let me know if you guessed it. And if you guessed Whitestone, you'd be right. I think you guys cheated and you saw it over there, but you'd be right. Yes, it's Whitestone. Whitestone dome glass. Why is it so good? They have the best adhesive. They have the best glass. Some people would argue with me. I think what it comes down to is customer service. Customer service with Whitestone dome glass could be better. Yes, it could be. Also, I feel like some of it's going to be user error. And honestly, there's probably a really tight margin, and this isn't our problem to worry about. There is a warranty on these screen protectors, and when you go and ask for that warranty, you have to pay $10 to get a screen protector sent to you, so you just pay for shipping. When somebody gets a screen protector in the box, sometimes it could be broken. There could be a broken screen protector there because of the thin glass. By the way, there is a plastic on the back side of this glass that allows it to stick together. So that's how this works. If I can get this closer so you guys can see, this is actually glass. It broke, and I'll show you in a little clip right here what it sounds like when this thing breaks. So there you go. I don't know if it's tempered glass. It sure does look like it to me. It took quite a bit of force and it bent quite a bit before this thing broke. So that's definitely glass. It's thin glass. If somebody gets a box with this thin glass that happens to be broken because of shipping, then you ask the company to send you a new package. They should not ask you to pay $10 for shipping. I don't agree with that. But it's kind of hard to know who's really telling the truth and who's not. That's up to them to figure out. That's not our problem as a consumer, but maybe we can give them a little bit of leeway when it comes to that. Maybe not, it's up to you. For me, I say it's okay, it's a pass. You know why? Because there's no better option out there right now as far as glass screen protectors or even TPU screen protectors go. Plastic screen protectors, whatever. Hybrid, doesn't matter. Whitestone is the best. AM film is good, it's up there. If you can get it for a good price, I believe it's like usually $33 to $39. Whitestone, when it first came out with this jig right here, it was like 70 bucks. It's a lot of money to spend on a screen protector. You do get two in the box, and I feel like it's worth it. I've come up with a theory on two types of people. When they go to purchase something, there is somebody in a premium value category and somebody in a budget value category. I happen to fall in the premium, meaning if I purchase something that is not the most expensive, best case, screen protector, phone, I will always think, hey, maybe I should have spent a little bit more money and gotten that better version of whatever it is. But if somebody in a budget category purchases something, they want to stick with budget, they should not go to premium, mainly because they will always think that other thing that was in the budget side of the category would have probably been good enough for them. That's basically all they needed. They'll always feel like they spent too much money. For me, because I'm in the premium value category, I know that I had to get the best, so I got the best and I paid for it. And for me, it's worth it. Hopefully this is guiding you in the direction of maybe what to get later on for the S22 Ultra that comes out. By the way, do you guys realize, I think Sam Mobile said something about it. The S22 Ultra is more like a Note. And what's funny is people said that we're not gonna get the Note back. But what's actually true is I think we're not getting the S series back, which is why I repurchased the S21 Ultra. Because I'm afraid that this phone, this type of phone, the curves, not the quite boxy kind of feel like the Note 20 Ultra had, won't be around anymore. I don't think this will be available anymore. So I kind of want to hold on to this and maybe sell it later when the S22 Ultra comes out. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, if the theories are right and the way the new S22 Ultra looks, we're actually getting a Note and we're losing the S line. They're just calling it something else. So anyway, it should be a good phone nonetheless. If this video helped you at all, please like, subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell icon to the right of the subscribe button. You'll be notified for future videos like this one in the future. This has been Something Mobile, and my name is Mike. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.